Where did John Mateer rank?
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Sooners, your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So we've been talking a lot about John Mateer. We've talked about how he feels snubbed by the SEC. We've talked about what coaches think about John Mateer and his potential for the Oklahoma Sooners. Now we're going to talk about where John Mateer ranks among quarterbacks across the country and in the SEC. Let's first start with the SEC. So over on the Ultimate College Football Show at 247 Sports, Smoke Dixon and Bud Elliott ranked their top SEC quarterbacks. Bud Elliott, my man, what are you thinking? He snubbed John Mateer, not included in his top five. That included DJ Lagway, Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning, Nico Iamaleava, and Lenora Sellers. But our guy, Smoke Dixon, he doesn't want the smoke. He knows John Mateer is one of the better ones in the conference. Garrett Nussmeier was his number one. John Mateer came in at number two, just ahead of Arch Manning at three, DJ Lagway at four, and Lenora Sellers at five. And I'd be curious to hear the context and the rationale on this. Go watch the Ultimate College Football Show. But I think this is going to be where John Mateer lands more often than not when you see quarterback rankings, right? You're going to see some places rank him as high as 2 because of the production and the experience that he had at Washington State. You're going to see some that have him outside the top 5 simply because he hasn't done it against SEC competition yet. The question there is, though, Arch Manning. Arch Manning, I think, being ranked 3, a lot of that is based on projection and potential. You expect him to be good. I think everybody expects him to be good, but we haven't seen him do it for a full conference slate. Now, he gets the benefit of a quote-unquote weaker conference schedule than some of the others like DJ Lagway and John Mateer, but Arch Manning has an opportunity to go and have a great season because of that. That's just the way the schedule shakes out. That's what happens when you're Texas and you're mid for about 10 years. You get a weak schedule. When you're Oklahoma and you're one of the best teams in college football for a decade, you get a more difficult schedule. It's the SEC. It's the way that they decided to break it all down. Hey, no sense in crying over spilled milk. You were really, really good for a decade. Here we are. But John Mateer, as we've discussed, has a chance to go be in one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC and in the entire nation. Adam Rittenberg of ESPN had John Mateer at number 4, coming in behind Cade Klubnik at Clemson, who, hey, listen, he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the country all season long. Had a great year in 2024 and helped Clemson make the college football playoff. Drew Aller comes in at number 2, a senior who threw for almost 3,400 yards, had 24 touchdowns and 6 rushing touchdowns. And he comes in behind Garrett Nussmeier, who, listen, Garrett Nussmeier is right now, as things sit here on April the 3rd, Garrett Nussmeier is my top quarterback in the SEC. I think the dude has got all the ability to go have a huge season for the Tigers. We saw it last year. We saw with him in that game against Oklahoma, the grit and the determination to go put a team on his shoulders and win a football game. That game was a really close game until Garrett Nussmeier came back late in the first half and made some big time throws under duress to put LSU out in front for good as they entered halftime. Like, that game went from being a close game to a game that got out of hand kind of quick. Now, LSU got the kickoff return for a touchdown that changed the momentum in that one. But even then, it was still a really close game until Garrett Nussmeier made some big time throws. So I don't have any qualms about John Mateer sitting behind Garrett Nussmeier in any quarterback ranking. I think Drew Aller being at 2 is a little bit high. We'll see. We'll see if he's got the ability to go and be that quality of a player that capable this season. I don't mind Cade Klubnik at number 1. He's one of the more experienced quarterbacks in college football. And then again, Garrett Nussmeier at 3 is fine. John Mateer at 4, I think that's very respectable. Sitting in front of Lenora Sellers at 5, and Sam Leavitt at Arizona State at 6, Carson Beck at 7, and Nico Iamaleava at 8, Haynes King at 9, and DJ Lagway at 10, Kevin Jennings 11, Arch Manning comes in at number 12, according to Adam Rittenberg. Luke Altmaier at Illinois is 13. Sawyer Robertson of Baylor at 14, and Darian Mensah, Duke at 15. So I think 4 is a very respectable place to sit in the offseason for John Mateer. I think he's got the chance to be that or better. I think he's got a really, really high ceiling with the Sooners in 2025. The offensive line is going to be much better than what it was last year. The wide receiver core is not going to have the same injury bad luck that they had last year. So he's going to have a better team around him than the quarterback had last year. But also, as we've discussed so much on this show already, he's got the mental makeup to go be one of the best quarterbacks in college football. It's not going to happen just because we want it to happen. It's not going to happen just because we wish it to happen or John Mateer wishes it to happen. It's going to happen because he's putting the work in. It's going to happen because he's developing the rapport with his wide receivers off the field. It's going to happen because he's leading from the front in the workout room. It's going to happen because he's making sure everybody's on the same page with this offense, both on the field, at practice, in the film studies, in the meeting rooms, but also away from the coaches in individual workouts, in team workouts. We saw over spring break, he was out there working with Giovanni Gibson and Deion Burks at one of the wide receiver training facilities down in Texas. They were putting the work in still, and they're going to continue to do that. It's going to be a group that works all off season long, all summer long, and he's going to continue to make sure that everybody is on that same page. And you've got bona fide playmakers. We know Deion Burks is a playmaker. We saw it, even though it was a limited season for him because of injury. We saw it. We saw the potential for Deion Burks to be a big-time difference maker. Isaiah Satania right now is just tearing up spring football. And, okay, maybe Oklahoma's got some cornerback questions. But still, when you have a plethora of playmakers, you're not going to be going up against the best cornerback in the country every single week. And they're not going to have 3 or 4 of those guys. So they're not going to be able to cover everybody. It's going to take a really good defensive team to be able to slow down this group of wide receivers. Giovanni Gibson, we talked about John Mateer being snubbed by recruiters. That's a dude right there that's been snubbed by recruiters. Nobody saw this guy. Nobody had this guy on their radar. And I think he's going to prove to be one of the better transfer portal pickups from this past offseason and be one of the best SEC wide receivers, because he's just, every Oklahoma hype video I see, he's out there making plays. Everybody that gets out to practice talks about Giovanni Gibson's ability to make plays down the field. And who are we to say that that's not going to happen? The guy has just proven it every step of the way. Had to go to Arkansas Pine Bluff to get started, but it went and had a big season and parlayed that into an opportunity at Oklahoma, where I think he's going to have another big season. He just, again, guys that have the right mental makeup, he just seems like a guy that's going to go and continue to improve and continue to refine his craft and continue to get better so that he can go and be a productive part of this offense for the Oklahoma Sooners. Again, they got to go prove it on the football field. I know I'm pumping a lot of Kool-Aid on today's show, and I know I'm pumping a lot of sunshine, and it's overflowing. I get it. It's off season. We got to go see them prove it on the football field. I'm still not going to sit here and say they're national title contenders or that John Mateer's a Heisman contender, but the potential is there. The ceiling is really, really high for this team, especially as the defense provides at least as good a defense as they did last year. If they're at least as good as they were last year, this team has a great shot at winning 10 games because the offense is going to be significantly better than what it was last year. Significantly better. I'm not talking about a touchdown per game better. I'm talking about, if they only average 13 points per game in SEC play when you take out the defensive touchdowns. It's not going to be that. It's not going to even be 20 points per game in SEC play. They're going to be pushing for 30 points per game in SEC play, and that's going to help them win a whole lot more football games. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow the show at Locked On Sooners wherever you like to do your social media stuff: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Pinterest. We're all over social media, dropping shorts, dropping opinions. So make sure you follow us over there as well. Make sure you check out our guy, Jay, at Unfair Sports. He's traveling this week. He's on the West Coast. Couldn't make our times link up, but we'll have him back maybe for Friday's show. If not for Friday's show, he'll definitely be back for Monday's show as well. But again, thank you so much for being a part of Locked On Sooners and always interacting with us in the YouTube comments section. Love to discuss Oklahoma football and more with you. So again, shout out to all the everydayers out there. But until next time, my name is John Williams. You can follow me at John9Williams and read my work covering the Sooners at SoonersWire.com. Have a great day and have a great Thursday and Friday and the rest of your weekend. Boomer Sooner.